Hi team, sorry I can't be here today on the first day back of term 3. I will definitely be back from tomorrow for the rest of the term, so I really appreciate your patience with this. I do realise that it has been a bit challenging not having a teacher in front of you for your last 3 lessons. Today, I will be creating a video to talk you through the checkpoint, as I would like everybody to really give it their best shot, as it shows you here the list of skills that you do cover, and we'll be moving on to some new content in the next couple of days. So, ideally, you can work through this task, and it will cover things like substitute into a formula, create a table of values from your formula or model that's provided, graph that table of values in Desmos, graph the model or the equation in Desmos, and then use that graph to answer some questions about the context. So you can see here that we've got 3 friends who are putting together different saving plans, and they are looking to save over the next 9 years, and none of them will take out any money once they start their savings plan. So the first person here who's got a wee plan is Sarah, and her savings plan is how much money is in her account is equal to 50 times 1.3 to the power of t, which is the time in years. And this very first question here asks you to say or figure out how much money did Sarah put into her account at the beginning when t equals 0 years. So you can just type that straight into your calculator if you go to a calculator. We've got 50 times 1.3, and then this little power button here will bring it up to 0. Okay, so you can see now I've substituted in where t was 0 for the start of her savings plan, and if you push equals, you see that her initial amount that she had in her account at the beginning was $50. Okay, so that's what we're sort of are looking at when we are looking at substituting into a model. All right, then we've got Johnny's savings plan. And he looks to start with $50, and then he's putting away $40 for each year for the next 9 years. And then Emma has got a more complicated savings plan here, where the savings plan is equal to 10 times t minus 2 to the power of 2 plus 40, where t is the time in years. Okay, so your very first task is to fill out each of these rows in your table using the different models and just substituting in the time given to you in your years column. Okay, so t equals 0, then t equals 1, 2, 3, into each of the different models for the savings plans for each of those different people. And you can just type it in as you see it. Okay, so if you have a look at this one looks quite complicated, but if you go straight to your calculator, you would just type in 10 open bracket, t, which would be 0 to begin with, minus 2, close bracket, to the power of 2, and then at the very end, I'll just double check, plus 40. And you just type plus 40, okay? And that will calculate it out for you. So in this case, he has $80, or she, at the very beginning of her savings plan, okay? So that is your first step. All right, so if you go back to your checkpoint here, substitute into a given model, create values of create a table of values from the given model. So that's ticking off your first 2 skills that you're required to do in this checkpoint by just taking each of these models, substituting in different year values for t, and then creating your data. Okay. Once you've got your data, you then need to create a table in Desmos for each of the different friends. Okay, and your first task would be to create a table for each person. So you'd go into Desmos, you go to your plus sign, you insert a table, and you'll have one for who's our first person. First person is Sarah. You'll have one for Sarah to begin with, and Sarah will have 0 through to 9. Okay, so you go all the way down to 9 years, and then the corresponding values for Sarah. Okay, and I don't know what they are, but you just type them in. I know she starts with 50. All right, so you do that for Sarah, then you do that for Johnny, and then you would do that for Emma. Okay, Then this is the bit where I feel like having looked at those who have managed to finish this task, the bit that we're not so sure about, which is inserting an equation or a model. All right, so this is actually almost easier than doing the different tables. So once you've got your three tables, you're going to also put in three equations or models. Okay, and the way you do that is you just go to f of x or expression and you type in um, the equation that you see. Okay, so where is there's moss? I'll just put this away, and I'll put this away. See if I can find where is our. Sorry, I'll go add. I need the little. Normally, you get a little table that has the ability for you to put in a time sign. So if we go S equals 50, I'm assuming that will give me times. If you go shift of that star, normally you get a little table where you can put your times into the power of, etc. But I'm not quite sure where that is at the moment on my screen. 1.3 to the power of t. There you go. So you can actually use S and T in Desmos, totally fine. Okay, so I'll zoom out. So you can see that that has been graphed for us to begin with. Then you'd put in your next equation, which was S equals 50 plus 40t, which was bodies. And then you'll put in your last one, which S equals, what was it, 10, open bracket t, sorry, 10, open bracket t minus 2, close bracket, to the power of 2 plus, is it 40? Plus 40. Okay, and so that is the last savings plan. Now you will need to obviously go to your Zoom spanner. You would zoom based on the values in your table, but I'm just going to give an approximate zoom here. So we're doing it over 9 years, so you could zoom for 10, okay, which would be quite reasonable. Make this like -1, okay. And then in terms of the savings, so you want to be able to go up for 9 years, so probably going to need closer to $250, I'd say. Maybe a little bit higher even. Maybe $450. There you go. And so you can see here for all of these different friends, you can go along to 9 years and up to their total savings after 9 years and figure out how much they've saved. So the key thing there is putting the table of values in is pretty easy. You're just copying that over from the task. But to put in the model, you go to f of x expression and then you just type it in and it creates a nice smooth expression there for you in order for you to read off your values. Once you've got your graph, by inserting the three tables and your three equations and zooming, you copy and paste that in here, and then you use that to answer the following questions at the bottom. Okay, so I'd really like everybody to give this a good go today. We'll be going through the answers as a do now sort of activity tomorrow before we move on to piecewise functions to finish off the week. And that will be every single graph being able to substitute into a model, create a table of values from that model, create a graph in Desmos, and then use it to answer questions in context.